So today with us we have Mohammed Shaikh, one of the directors for Cricket Canada, and Farooq Kirmani, coach of Canadian Under-19 team. Welcome both of you in our program.
Thank you very much, Farooq, for having us.
Yes.
Thank you.
And today, as you can see, Farooq Kirmani, we have it here, and we would like to talk about the recently concluded Under-19 World Cup, where Canada participated, right? And so we want to talk about that. We want to review, and
Sure.
Coach Kirmani is here. We're going to talk about it. Mohammed Shaikh, we're going to get his views about that. So let's start with Farooq bhai. Farooq bhai, how was the journey? When did you guys start planning for this tournament?
Well, it starts from our qualifier in July.
Okay.
We have a qualifier, it's 4 nations, which is America, Canada, Cuba, and another country, Argentina.
Okay.
And then we qualify for the World Cup, and our journey starts from there.
Okay. So, and then who do we beat in the final?
Final, we beat United States.
United States.
And
That's our
That's our
dear friends.
Dear friends, and very important team to beat, because Canada, we always qualify, and we wanted to beat them to be a qualified team to go to the World Cup.
Is it the last time we also beat USA?
Yes.
2 years ago at I think the
Toronto Cricket Club.
Toronto Cricket Club.
That was hosted here, yes.
Yes. So, Mohammed Shaikh, I heard, and you are one of the person who are responsible to run the junior cricket and all those things for Cricket Canada. What's your take on that? How do you see this transition for last 2 times we went to the World Cup? First of all, tell me, like, what was the progress?
So, cricket, of course, is run on a collective basis. It's not individually me. We have a lot of people involved that work and put in a lot of hard work, and 90% of it is on a volunteer basis. As far as progress goes, we maintain progress. We would like to break that barrier of winning 2 games.
Yeah.
The last 2 World Cups in a row, we've won 2 games.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, we need to be, and we have come out as the top associate nation in both of these World Cup.
Yeah.
More exciting than team performance is our individual performances.
Yes.
It is phenomenal to see that our players are going out there competing against the Bangladeshis and the Indias and the Pakistans of the world, and taking wickets, taking second most wickets in such a prestigious tournament.
Yeah.
That goes to show that hopefully we have some progress for the future, and we have to capture these kids and bring them into the senior program.
Yeah. So this is good. Like, this is very positive that as Canada ended up as the top associate country. As everybody knows that cricket is not one of the mainstream sports yet. We are working on it, and soon, hopefully, with the help of all these efforts and few sponsors, we can find them. We'll be going there. So, how's the structure of Under-19? Canada. How does it run?
Well, it runs from our Ontario programs and BC program. It's a whole nation. We have, every province have their Under-19 teams or leagues, and then we select the player from there. But majority of players come from Ontario, because we have a vast multicultural population and extremely high-skilled kids here, which comes from the academies, from Ontario board and our national board. But I want to say one thing is, to make sure everybody understand that it's a volunteer program. A lot of people put a lot of effort into it, and the kids are naturally skilled, but we also need a program to structure their progress in the World Cup. Absolutely
right, but I think it's Akhil Kumar of Canada Under-19 who was one of the top wicket taker from this recently concluded Under-19. He took 16 wickets in 5 games, and his performance of 6 for 46 is the best performance. Akhil Kumar, we will try to have Akhil Kumar in our program or get his message. A few of the players will most probably will join us lately in this program. What about the performances? You were there, you were on the ground, you stayed with the kids for I think more than a couple of weeks, but your journey is a long journey.
It's a journey, it's a long journey, but I'd like to thank our director, Mohammed Shaikh. He's always helped us put up the best team as possible, and Ranjit Sani and Mohammed Shaikh and Rajpal, the board has always supported the junior program. Our problem is not our skill. Our problem over there to get exposed to that kind of competition. In Canada, we only played 4 months, and 1 week practice in South Africa to compete against the best in the world who's playing as a team together for the last 2-3 years. But since our kids are skilled, it does not take them to adapt the game. It comes down to our fitness and mental attitude, but our single individual performance is always going to be there because we have skilled players. And Akil Kumar has been training in New Zealand for the last 2 years, on and off, and it shows that if we have our kids overseas playing and support by our province and by our national board, they will be recognized in the world. And I'm so proud to be a part of it, and good luck to them in the future.
We'll talk more about the World Cup we just concluded. Mr. Shaikh, we just went through, so you've been associated with the Cricket Canada for a long time, and you're looking for these. Can you, we have this, I think we just worked out this list, right? We have the players. I think so far as 95 players has played only the Under-19 World Cup from the Canada. Very talented kids, they come with different backgrounds and then they played. Do you want to name some who participated in the Under-19 World Cup, and their transition into Canadian senior team? What is the ratio, and what are the obstacles of kids? They were really good in the Under-19 level, and then after that they moved to a different path.
So, not to make excuses, but as I started off by telling you that we need to find a way to capture these players and keep them in the program. Of course, there's challenges that we face.
Yes.
Unfortunately, cricket is not a mainstream sport. It's not a sport where right now in Canada, anybody can make a career out of it. These are young under-19 kids, university, high school. They have to worry about their careers.
Yes.
Sometimes we lose them to a career. Sometimes we lose them to education.
Sure.
And then sometimes the ones that are dedicated, they're the ones staying around. Ashish Bagai will be a perfect example. Highly educated, played as long as he could. He actually sacrificed and put his career on hold to continue playing for Canada. For peanuts, as you call it, right? So we need more players like that, and in order to keep them in, we need to find the funding. People have a life, people have to survive, the senior players, the junior players, everybody. So Cricket Canada is, despite, its progress is very slow, right? It's not something we can just overnight turn it around. But Cricket Canada is working very hard to try and bring in corporate sponsorship. We're going on a new campaign where we'll be trying to get these players employment with certain companies, and they will allow them time off to train, to go to these tours. As you know, Cricket Canada senior team, we're going to Malaysia next month. And immediately after that, there'll be a regional qualifier for the next T20 World Cup. And we're confident that we'll get through that one. Then there'll be the global qualifier. If you have a full-time job, how many times can you go to your employer and say, I want time off, I want time off? There's some people that will understand that you're representing the national cricketing organization, and they'll let you out, but not everybody will. So there's a big task ahead of us to seek employment for these players, or, I know everybody's talked about central contracts. At one point we did, when we were a high performance country, and when we were up there and we had a little more funding, we had some sort of central contracts. So despite that, we are working towards going back there. You can't have a discussion of cricket and not talk about the GT20, right? The GT20 has helped us a lot. It's brought in a lot of coverage, a lot of support. And I think we as cricketers need to do our part also. You can't always rely on a group of 5 or 6 people or your body. We should be promoting it. We should be bringing our friends that are not necessarily cricketing people to say, there's this huge tournament. Explain to them, bring them to a game. And when you go to a live event, you're captured. You're into that sport more than just hearing about it. That's true. So, it's a big task, but it is going on.
I remember one of the award galas we met, and you brought 3 hardcore mainstream Canadian guys. They had no idea about cricket, and they were making more fun of you than anything else. But it was a good gesture, and they were really happy, and they really liked the atmosphere because it's sports is always better than wandering around on the street.
Right. And speaking about that, so it's the same group others. I brought them to the GT20 last year. They knew nothing about cricket. They came. I was busy. I had somebody else sit with them and explain the game to them.
Yeah, you have an interesting job at GT20.
Yeah. And the next day, they're phoning me and asking me, what's the score? Who won? Did that guy score runs again? Like, just one game. And they got it. And then they came back to about 3 games after. And this year, they're already asking, when is that tournament coming back, right? And even at work, when people know and they know my involvement in cricket, they're all excited. They hear about this. And one negative point is, I'll say to some people that, you like, oh yeah, I love cricket. And I tell them this, and they're like, what are you talking about? I had no idea. Can you believe it? Like, how can you not have an idea? So something is definitely wrong there.
Yeah. No, it's a, so like the way you talk, like you're trying to come up with a program or a way to have the Canadian players get a job or something like that. What about like under 19 level, right? There are a lot of sports, especially soccer. I see a lot of parents, they spend a lot of time and they spend a lot of money to have their kids play soccer and get training so they can get like a good scholarship or college seat in either Canada or USA. Is there any program under review, under consideration for cricket?
So right now, what Cricket Canada offers is there's a lot of schools, and you know, you got to credit the teachers. They don't know anything about cricket, but they might be in a region or an area where the kids want to play. So these teachers call us and they say, listen, man, I don't know anything, but these kids want to play, and I want to give them the opportunity to play. So we'll try and go there, coach them, provide them with equipment, any other support. And there's a lot of that going on through Cricket Canada, Cricket Ontario, right? So that's what's going on in the schools, and the schools right now hold their own tournaments.
Yeah.
They're not affiliated to anybody. They don't want to affiliate. They have their own, the PL schools have it, the elementary schools have it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cricket going on, and you know, cricket is not an unknown sport. Like, you know, even though I'm very young, I played junior cricket.
Yes.
I played school cricket. That was a long time ago, and it's still going on. And we have this couple of organizations, the colleges, Canadian Colleges Cricket, who are affiliated to Cricket Ontario. That gives them automatic affiliation to Cricket Canada. They're working very hard on trying to get the universities to recognize it as a sport. There's going to be no scholarship available unless there is an actual official university team. Right now, some universities give them some support, some give no support. The players pay their own fees to enter these tournaments, their own uniforms, practice, right? I know a few of the schools are stepping up quite a bit. I know Ryerson is very big, and that's also because people push the organization of Ryerson. And then in Laurier, Waterloo, they're stepping up now. So again, it's a work in progress. Once we start the task and don't give it up and offer all the support we can, that's when we'll get to the stage that you're talking about.
Yeah. No. So let's go back to the tournament and our squad, because see, these kids, you know, they work really hard. They went to the tournament. This is, I'd say for maybe few of them, or at least for this once in a lifetime opportunity, right? Their parents were really excited. We saw them off at the airport. There was a lot of families and friends were all there. So let's talk about these kids, right? And then see, like, how do you see them? Because you see them very closely, right? Because I want everybody's name to be recognized, as this tournament has a lot of media coverage, so they have their own share. But at our local media, I feel the responsibility too. They should be get recognized. So let's talk about, like, you know, you have these guys.
Well, I don't even have to look at the list, but I know most of these guys, not only from Ontario, but throughout Canada, like
I'm like more interested in who are not from Ontario.
Oh, Harshdeep Dadawal and Uday Walia. I know them since they were 14 years old.
That's good.
Because I'm also an Ontario coach.
You pretty much know everybody when they were 11.
Yeah, because I'm involved with Cricket Canada since 2007.
Okay.
For the under 19 or under 15 program. I started with under 15, then become under 19 assistant coach in 2010 to go to New Zealand. So I'm aware of some of these kids, but most of these kids from out of town are here. I know them since they're 14. Okay. So I'm very close to them. They respect me and I respect them, but I know how much skill and talent they have and how much their parents have invested in them. Because all these kids born here and all they want to do is play cricket.
Right.
They don't want to play anything else. Can you imagine the Canadian born cricketer player, he only wanted to play cricket, although he has hockey, basketball, and other sports available. So how much passion in these kids. I also like to thank their parents to taking and invest so much time
Yeah.
in Cricket Ontario and Cricket Canada. They have spent a lot of money sending them anywhere they wanted to go as a pre-tour or invest money on them, because these are investment. Our junior program is very vital, how we nurture our junior program, and these skill players is going to help our senior team.
Okay. So like any particular batsmen, bowlers, you
But there's
they're not gauging their
no.
performance because like
No, I'm not-
it's a big platform. They did good. They played as a team because they just went to South Africa. I think they have 1 or 2 practice games. Then they're
Yeah,
right
no,
into
no,
the tournament.
you're right. I mean, I'm not saying that all going to go on and proceed their career into the senior team, but there's about 6 or 7 of them is very, very good because their skills are high. Like one of them is Akil Kumar.
Yeah.
I think he's very good. Rishabh Chachi is another one. Ravinder Sandhu is another one. Ayush Verma, Uday Walia, Harshdeep Dalwal, he has a spine injury from India. I don't know what he did, but he is another good one, and he's from Alberta. Those are the kids, and Ashton Deosami, our skipper.
Okay.
And Nicholas Manahar, one of the youngest best wicketkeeper we ever had in the junior program. He also have a little knick-knack back injury, but he's fully fit now. So we have kids in about 8, 9 kids in this squad that are highly skilled. If we nurture them and we groom them properly, I think they're going to help the senior team.
Yeah. And I'm sure like the rest of them like really hardworking kids, you know, they like because I see one of the players is very active on the social media also. I think Kamal.
Oh, Mohammed Kamal.
Mohammed
Yeah.
Kamal is an interesting character.
He's a very interesting character, but he's also a very good player, but he needs a little bit more time to get his.
Yeah, there's no doubt about like they're that good player because like you know they're representing Canada, so
Right.
it is a big process to select them. Even though a lot of people you know have their own questions.
Yes.
And I'm not here defending anybody, or it's like this is just a platform.
Right.
But there's a process in place because there's a junior cricket, then there's a trials and a trial games, and there's the practice for almost 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
It is a long process just for the kids and coaches to come up with, have them train and also keep them away from injuries.
No, we have really worked hard. I mean, since the qualifier, Mohammed Bhai sat down with us and we got the team and he explained. He's always into it. He's always asking questions about the juniors. So we have worked really hard. The matter in hands is good, but when we go to overseas, it's a totally different ball. We practice 2 months, 3 months outdoor.
Yeah.
We have hardly any games in the turf wicket, and then we go indoor for the concrete. But when you go to the countries where the weather is minus plus 32 and plus 35 every day, things change.
Yeah.
People are not familiar with that, and I believe it's totally unfair to criticize any other boys that have worked hard so much to go over there and play their best cricket.
And it's basically, I think it'll be really tough mentally also. Like one of the, I was just reading day before yesterday, one of the leg spinner from India, right? He got a contract, IPL contract for $287,000, right?
Yeah.
That's 4 times of an average family income.
Of course.
Here, right? And then the plus like our kids, they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do. So it's much different, especially South Asian countries and Australia. The kids are financially become really strong in all those. So Mohammed bhai, I want to like, so we talked about the players and actually before we get into it, so what are the other staff was involved with you for the team? We don't want to.
No, I don't want. I have only like see. There's another problem with the structure of our staff. We are amateur country.
Okay.
But the professional country have a staff of every individual, every department.
Okay.
They have a head coach, assistant coach, a batting coach, bowling coach, fielding coach, physio, doctors, because they can afford it.
Yeah.
We don't have that much funding for all these players. I have an assistant coach who helped me the best he can,
Okay.
and we have statistician who went and taped all the
You wanna
games.
name them, so like
Yeah,
it's like-
Kulbir Jaswal
Yes,
was
was
the
your
assistant
assistant
coach for
coach?
it,
Okay.
and he did the best he could to help me out
Yeah.
to prepare the game. And we have Shah Zafar, our statistician, who went and taped the game.
Sure.
And our manager, Anil Khanna, who's a really nice guy. He did the best job for the team that he could do. But the problem is we need more help, an individual department that could help specialize the skills of the boys. Because for the head coach to program the game plan and the details, the tactics and everything is too much for one person to handle it. He should have a couple of staff who he can delegate, and he can only plan for his game plan, his statistic. You have to go through every individual to make sure what their role is, things like that. And we did the best we could, and we thank Canada to helping us out for every move that we made. We did not do anything without their help, and we could not do anything without their help either.
But there was no physio with the team?
We had the physio, but he could not fix the guys. If you have a hamstring injury, I played for Canada for 16 years, and I play in the league for 25 years. I know once you have a hamstring injury,
it's going to take time.
It takes 2 or 3 weeks to pull.
Yeah.
But the guys, I have to give credit to my boys. They were hurt or not injuries. They went through with it because they're playing for this country and they're playing for Coach Farooq, and that's what it's all about.
So Mumbai, like let's talk about the transition from an N19 to the mainstream or a main team.
Right.
You know, how many kids you remember? They played for N19 in Canada, and then they went for the senior team. Do you want to talk about that transition?
Not as many as there should have been.
Okay.
We did a little, we sat here and we did a little bit of stuff. Out of
95.
about 95 players that would have represented Canada at the under 19 level.
This is just not it's just the 95 of under 19 World Cup.
Right.
They played there.
Yeah. So
way more than player who represented under 19.
Right.
But the player who played under 19 World Cup.
Right.
I just want to clarify that.
Yeah. So 95 of our players have basically, give or take, have played the World Cup. And from a quick glance at the list, we've had about 15.
No, there's like the second page also.
22.
22 of them.
22. So we've had about 22 players that have gone on to represent Canada. I think the number should be considerably higher, and I think that would further help the performances of our team. So just to let you know, Canada is trying to create some structured teams where we have, of course, the main team, and then we have a development team, and then from the development team, you'd move up. So the development team, for example, the one that went to West Indies the last tour, there wasn't very many national players on that team because we see the national players all the time. We need to give the newer guys a chance to shine, and that's where we're going to find some new prospects, right? We have a few players that are up and coming. They've been here in Canada for a while. They'll be very close to qualification. And again, they've been here, they've served their time in Canada. It's not like we're importing them from outside. And also the homegrown ones, like Coach said, that they're Canadian born and they're dedicating their time to cricket. So a few of the junior players that just came back from the World Cup will be added to the practice squad with the national team, just so it helps them in transition, because they're great players, but it's still a different level. Like, different levels, different strength level, you're going from kids, a certain maturity to a different level of maturity. So if we can groom them in slowly like that, I think we can retain them for a little longer. And if the universities give them some kind of support and help them with their education and stuff, there's nothing stopping us, right? But it's a slow process, and I will, being part of Cricket Canada, I will say that we need to get a little more structured. But you know what it boils down to? It all boils down to funding, funding and money. And if we try our utmost hardest to get to full member status, like, don't quote me on exact numbers because I'm not an expert, but from what I know, when Ireland and Afghanistan were made full members, I think their funding went from like 1 million to 30 million.
Oh, wow.
Right? Okay, so, and hence the reason ICC wants to limit the number of full members, because then they have to share the same pot with a larger group. But if you deserve it, you can go up there. And then up until recently, something you might not know, but any ICC Americas tournaments that we participate in, we actually have to pay a participation fee.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I think just as of this year, when I say ICC Americas, when you're playing USA, Bermuda, those ones. When you go to Malaysia, for example, most of the expenses would be covered by ICC, such as flights, accommodations, for 16 people, 14 players, and only 2 staff. The rest of it, any player allowances, any player per diems, any preparation time, any pre-tour, we have to pay for. right? So that's why we try and double up the pre-tour, keep it in the same country, because then the flight is paid for, and then you play warm-up games there, and then you continue, and then that's at least covered. So, we were budgeting maybe to go to USA to play some games. If you can imagine, it would cost $86,000 to maybe go for 2 weeks to USA. This is all our expense now because nobody's funding it, right? So you have to pay for the flights, you have to pay for the hotels, player allowances, and per diems, right? And players need a decent allowance too. We got to start finding ways to give them a little more. Sure, it's a passion. Sure, it's a prestige to represent your country, but in the end, you got a family to take care of also at the same time.
You got to pay the bills.
That's right.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, cricket is well, I will not say it's not a known game anymore in Canada. It's a very known game. There's the grounds are coming. The weather, right? We talk about it always like with small weather. So is anything in plan to we can counter the weather effect?
I would say that we need to play from our under 15 to under 19 level on the turf cricket. We need to play. Like I said before, as I said it, that our skill level is as high as any national squad. Yeah. Where we lack it is playing condition of the turf cricket, because every country turf cricket is different. So if we start our junior program, our juniors playing the cricket on the turf cricket more often, we will get better and better, and we will not see a little bit difference between them and us in the competition. And that's a very vital thing.
So, just for my understanding, how is the whole under-19 structured? I know like there's somewhere around 70-80% of the whole Canadian cricket is in Ontario. Is it right?
So, I
Because
would always say,
people ask me, it's like, hey, I read the name and everybody's from Ontario. What's going on?
right.
So, for the benefit of my viewers, I want to know what's, because if the 80% cricket is in Ontario, the 80% team will be from Ontario, right?
Right.
But there is exception. So how the under-19 structure works?
So the good thing is now, not only within Ontario, but all across Canada, there's an increase in junior cricket, under 19, women's cricket, right?
Don't even start with women cricket because there is like...
We'll get to that. That's another program altogether, right?
That's
another program altogether. So, until a few years ago, basically in all of Canada, the only structured program for juniors was in T&D. When I say structured, we offer them a league, a schedule to play, and the clubs did it. The league basically offered them grounds and a schedule, right? Now it's good to see that leagues within Ontario itself are now starting junior programs, which is phenomenal. It takes the burden off the one league because in the end it's subsidized. Who's it subsidized by? The senior teams.
Yes.
Right? The senior teams have to subsidize the ground cost because we're not charging the same amount to the juniors. So now with more cricket coming up, other leagues stepping up to the plate, it's only going to help. Also, Alberta and BC, they're starting to have pretty good junior programs. Hence, you see the increase of players from outside of Ontario. Montreal, Quebec, at one point, they were pretty good.
And now I don't see
pretty good. Yeah, there's not much in Ontario and Montreal used to have a tournament every year, Nathelston Cup, which was basically hosted a senior and a junior. One year you'd go to Quebec, the opposite year they come here. That one has gone away. But I'll tell you what, you see, in Ontario there's a lot of cricket already available. There's so many leagues, so many opportunities that the Ontario guys are satisfied playing all these league games. But we do need to revive the interleague competitions again. They used to be an under 19 and a senior amongst all the leagues. So yes, right now 80% is here, but it is increasing quite a bit along, I would say BC and Alberta, and BC has a good program. BC, I noticed that BC, they have a lot of first-class players and foreign players come there to play. The same thing as like T&D does. It only makes our players better to be able to face them rather than just your average Joe. So, and then we have the logistical issue. It's a huge country, 5 time zones. I mean, you can fly cheaper to London, England than you can fly to BC.
That's right.
Or you can actually get to London, England in the same moment of time that the guy at BC can get here. So bringing the players in, putting them on an even playing field and having trials, which we've started to do. This year when we did the junior trials, we brought the players in from out of province so that we can all see them on a level playing field, because they might be performing in a certain province, but they're not performing here, where here they might have 3,000 kids to compete against. Over there they might only have 300 kids to compete against. So I'll come back. We have a lot of work to do, right? We need a structured program given to all the provinces and to say build on this, and then progress needs to be monitored. While Coach K was training the kids here, the BC kids were training in BC. We set up a program. We sent the assistant coaches from BC. We had him run the program, and we had board member from Cricket Canada board member from BC, Rashpal Bajwa, sort of oversee and make sure everything is going good. The one player from Alberta, he was already in India training on his own. So again, it's not an excuse by no means, but we have to overcome these challenges. We have to work together to overcome these challenges.
Before we end this program, I have 2 questions. One is you mentioned about GT20, right? All the leagues in the world, all the good leagues, they have this structure. So you have a 1 or a 2 under 19 and junior and all those kind of things. Do we have something like that in GT20?
So right now in GT20, we have a Canadian content. We didn't restrict it yet to what age level, right? So we started with 4 players, and every year there's increased by 1. This year there should be 6 in the team, which guarantees 3 or 4 in the playing 11. And if you notice last year, despite there not being that condition, we had 3 or 4 players in every game, and they earned their spot. They all performed. So Farooq, as the number increases, then we can start dictating to say, okay, there must be X number of under 19s, whatever. Last year, 6 under 19s, 1 per team was added to be mentored, to be around that environment. Unfortunately, they didn't get playing opportunity, but at least they get to see the environment. And a lot of these players that come here, they're very receptive to those kind of players. They're very good in mentoring them and helping them and kind of, you know what, it's a different, can you imagine our guys going from local club cricket straight to international? Some of the guys might be their first tour, first game. It's not the same. It's not the same. So, putting these players and getting them mentored through big players in GT20 is definitely going to help. And you can see in the performances that they carry them through. Rodrigo Thomas, Ryan Patan, all these guys, Abrash, Umer Ghani, coming out top fielder in the tournament,
Salman
big play, Salman Nazar, all these. So
Salman Nazar still can play under 19, I think.
Based on his size, right? Yeah. So, and like I said, everybody stay tuned. We have a team going to Malaysia. This is coming over a little bit to the senior cricket. This is the round 2 of the Challenge Cup. It's a three-year tournament playing in your same group, and the top team in the group gets a chance still to qualify for 2023 World Cup. After first round, we are sitting in first place. Unfortunately, we lost 1 game late in the tournament. So we're tied with Singapore, but we're still ahead on net run rate. And net run rate has been our what can I say, 0.1. We keep losing out by 0.1 or very minute net run rates. Hopefully, we don't want to rely on net run rate. We just want to win the game. So we're going to go back. We hope to come back out standing in first place. And we're hopeful that year 3 might even be hosted here in Canada so that people can come out and see that for themselves.
So, Coach K, any future tours in plan, anything in pipeline, or just relaxing right now?
Right now, relaxing. I'm just looking forward to have a Canada Cup under 19, under 17 will be held here. So I heard, and I'm looking to see all the players from other provinces and see where we're going from that.
I think the Auty Cup is having some, I don't know, 175 or 75 years. Is it this year or next year? The Auty Cup between Canada and
See,
USA. Do we still have that, or
We still have it, but it needs to come back to its
Provide,
consistency.
yeah.
Okay.
Right? We not hold it. Sometimes we have it. I mean, I think last time might have been 4 years ago.
4 years ago,
I
yes,
remember.
it is.
Right? So we need to bring back some consistency. And the US are our rivals.
Yes.
But in the end, they're our partners, right? Like in many ways. It's anything Canada USA is always fun,
Yes.
even if it be in cricket. So yes, Cricket Canada is working on reviving it. It's supposed to be alternating years. They host, we host.
Yeah.
And again, it's an unfunded tournament. The boards have to find their own money to fund this. When we're hosting locally, it's not a bad deal, but when we're traveling, it becomes a little more costly for us.
Right.
But it is being revived. It hasn't died, but it's just, we need to bring back the consistency of it.
So I'm going to throw just a question. It's up to you if you want to answer or not. But US is getting a little bit more structure. They're getting a lot of money, right? At least on the social media and media level, we see they're getting money. Does it put extra pressure on you as a Cricket Canada director or Cricket Canada as a structure? They're getting more money, they're getting more organized, right? Skill level, whenever we get a chance, we beat them. How do you see this?
It most definitely puts pressure on us and on our players, because like you said, it's all about the funding. And if we don't have the funding, and yet we can still beat them
Yeah.
almost every time.
That's amazing.
Almost every time, ICC needs to understand that, and the pressure on us is we've always been the leader in this region.
Yes.
America's has always been Canada, right? Under 19s, in my memory, we've only missed one World Cup.
Yeah.
We always make a World Cup. Senior team, we used to be good until the structure changed to only 10 teams. When it was more teams, we used to make the World Cup. We actually won a game. We actually won a game in the World Cup. We hold a few records, some good, some bad, but we hold a few records
yes.
We just
in
had
the
really
World Cups.
bad, like in 2019, that
Yeah.
it will be in like a really different league right now.
Right. So, I mean, it was very disappointing that we didn't qualify for the T20 qualifier. Very, like and the team got preparation, and I guess they just didn't click when they needed to, right?
That's right.
So it is a lot of pressure. It's a pressure for anybody to be right there, same level, and one organization to be supported more than the other organization, right? But as somebody said to me at one of the ICC meetings, stop relying on ICC, stop relying on your government, go out there and get your own corporate funding. Then you won't have to worry. Right now, we're reliant mostly on ICC funding, right? And they're only going to give you so much, right? So, if you just to talk about media, and we discussed Akhil Kumar, but I mean, he should be a topic of discussion, especially after this phenomenal World Tour. Up until just a couple of days ago, he was still the leading wicket taker in the tournament. He just got toppled, but that player got to play some extra games,
Yes.
right? And he's featured on the team of the tournament.
Yeah.
He's the 12th man
Yeah.
in the team of the tournament,
Oh, yeah.
right? And these articles have been picked up now by Globe and Mail, TSN. So at least something is happening on the Cricket Canada level where we're putting out proper releases, more timely releases, and regular media is picking up. Because as much as you said cricket is a popular sport, it's a popular sport amongst a select group.
Select group, right?
And even in that select group, I am shocked that people from the Asian subcontinent in the West Indies do not know how big cricket is here. And that's just disappointing.
Yeah.
That at least they wouldn't know.
Yeah, like, I just saw that game. You probably saw the Australian bushfire
Yes.
appeal, right? So that wasn't very interesting because they had all the superstars, but they also have their local stars.
Right.
Their rugby player and their,
Everybody supported.
it could be a good idea to do something like this here. Maybe Nizam Qadri can come or the basketball player. I know, like if the charge is gonna be a no for us.
Yeah.
But somehow we can get somebody because the mainstream has to involve in there. Because the funding, because like I'm a media company, I do different events.
Yeah.
Right. It's much easier to get like a funding for a softball tournament than a hardball tournament.
Right.
Right? Because there is a different form of cricket, and because I think if you talk about you play hardball, right, and then all different levels, then you play softball,
Right.
and there is a tape ball tournament, and there is like an Indian tennis ball tournament.
Yeah.
right? So
There's the wind ball.
There's wind ball and everything. Tape ball
wind
tournament is
tape
big.
ball,
It's big.
softball.
There was
Because
a big
they just need a
tournament.
patch of grass and
Yeah,
then go play. They don't need
22
wickets or
teams
anything, right?
Tournament in 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge, and it was like it was a very big budget tournament, and
Right.
it was went very successful.
Yeah, but I agree with Mohammed Bhai. The funding is corporate people have to support this. That's why we wouldn't get the staff. If Cricket Canada only gets so much funding, all the corporate company can sponsor the staff. It's a bowling coach we needed, they can sponsor. It's a batting coach we needed, they can sponsor. It's a doctor we needed, they can sponsor. We need help. We cannot depend on that small funding. Cricket is very, very expensive and very, very large sport. You need everybody's help.
I do get, and I want to request you to have some final words for this program, or if you want to talk to our audience directly, you can talk to them. Or is any message for the youth player who are willing or who wants to be the part of the youth team and all that? So camera is yours, and then after that, Mohammed Bhai, you please.
I just like to say all the juniors who are playing cricket in this country, get involved in the junior program for your district, your team, and your league. And Ontario and Cricket Canada is always going to help you guys. And we need all the best cricketers to help us out. Thank you.
All I can say is never give up. There's only 11 players that can go on the field, 15 that can go on a tour. That does not mean that your chance won't come at some point. If you follow any sport, mainstream sport, a guy might be a backup to Tom Brady all his life.
Right.
He gets a chance,
Yeah.
almost goes and wins the Super Bowl. Right? So never give up. Just keep fighting hard. To the viewers, to the non-cricketers, keep supporting cricket in a positive fashion. Come out there when the GT20 is here, when the Canadian team is playing, our practices are open, our trial games are open. Come on out, see what goes on behind the scenes, and it might give you a better picture of what's going on than what you might think.
Yep.
Thank you.
With that, I want to thank you, Coach Farooq Bhai,
Thank you.
known as Coach K, Mohammed Shaikh. Mohammed Bhai, thank you very much for your
Welcome.
time, and we did talk about it. We tried to stay focused on under 19, but we did talk about some other stuff too. The viewers are welcome to comment, but always remember, this is a passion, a program. So be respectful to all the people when you do comment, and we are always, Mohammed Bhai says, we are always open for positive comments, positive criticism, because we love the game as you do too. So with that, we're going to sign off from today, but very soon, I most would like to call you guys back for the program, especially Mohammed Bhai, for the women cricket. It's, trust me, the most I comment get about from our female cricketers. They really want to know what's going on and what will be happening. And
Right.
I think I see a lot of activities in Ontario and other places for this coming summer. So hopefully we'll do this program.
Before you close, I'm going to give you guys a spoiler. For women's cricket, Cricket Canada and GT20 will be having an exhibition women's game
Oh, wow.
during the GT20. Just like the way the CPL did, now IPL is starting. So women, you do have something to look forward to. Ontario Cricket has started the Women's High Performance Program. And as Farooq Bhai said, we welcome comments, we welcome feedback, we welcome criticism. When he calls us back, maybe you can compile the questions that are asked.
Sure.
And then we can go through it again. Based on today's discussion, you can counter what I said or what Coach said, and we'll do our utmost best to honestly and fairly answer your questions.
Yeah.
That's the only promise we can give you.
And I will not promise, but we might do a live show where people can comment or call.
Yeah, sure.
So, we are open for everything, and Sports Trend is a platform who give opportunity to everyone who has a love of the game to come. But the only thing we request people is when you come up with any kind of suggestion or any other, you should have a solid backing for your claim. With that, I'm going to close and thank you again. For
Thank you.
Thank you, Sports Trend, for always doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. Good night. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.